Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, sisters of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. We are coming up on the weekend where people are just going to be acting stark raving mad. The hospitals are going to literally be full because people who are going into cardiac arrest, according to what I heard from last night's broadcast, from stuffing their guts, eating a lot of turkey and getting excited about the football games. And I'm trying my best to get the people out here to understand that everything in this country that has gone on before us is a grand design. It's just that, the powers that be, they understand psychology. And they know what they're doing and how they are manipulating us and how they have trained us to function in their world. And make no mistake about it, we are in their world. And you need to understand this. But my concern is the dismal ignorance of the American people and how that, we can remember the Holocaust. Remember the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust. But forget about the black Holocaust of 1619 and the plight of those people for almost 400 years have been in captivity and suffer many injustices and up to 100 million people were killed. And even though the numbers of the so-called Jewish Holocaust, even in history, doesn't fudge and line up, you have to understand, we live in a country, and it's a painful situation, but we live in a country where people choose to ignore the truth and ignore the facts because it doesn't fit in their conscience. And anything that doesn't fit in their conscience, they want to just throw it aside and cast it aside, but they want to put all the things out in front of you that mean something to them. And they put this up in the front, and then they allow their little heart to get engaged because they are ruling. The Europeans are ruling the world. This is the history that they want you to recognize and to know. Because remember, history, especially in this country, we don't have the history of the indigenous people of this land, i.e. the native Indians. We have the history of the conquerors. And those who write the history can slant it and tell it any way they want. Well, we're getting ready to come up on what they call Thanksgiving. And there are a lot of Americans ignorantly that's going to participate in the celebration of rape, rob, murder, killing, stealing, pillaging, the whole 9 yards of the people of this country. And they're going to justify themselves with their lying stories, but the Pilgrims and the Indians, and saying how they all got along, when as soon as they got finished eating that feast, a whole tribe of Indians got slaughtered by the Europeans. That means the present day American people. And I know that most people, you choose to put blinders on and not realize that these same people and their descendants are the ones who are controlling and ruling this country today. And now they have everybody under this psychological slavery. This so-called M2K ultra mind control. That's why I keep warning you over and over and over again about that one-eyed monster called the TV. Well, while the American people are going to be stuffing their gut watching the NFL football games, chances are the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions are going to be playing. I don't know. I don't keep up with it much at all. The indigenous people of this land, who just so happen to be from the tribes of Israel, they're going to be celebrating the National Day of Mourning. So while Americans are going to be celebrating Thanksgiving and they're going to lie to the children based on the federal curriculum that they have for those public school systems and private school systems, they're not going to tell them the real truth of the history of the people of this country and how this country came about. And of course, the Europeans brought over syphilis and gonorrhea and all kind of other diseases and stuff, and they killed the men, all the strong men and stuff, in order to make the women and their children that they're going to have assimilate into it and let these people so-called accept their faith, kind of like the African Holocaust when the Europeans with the Arabs, along with the Arabs, took all these Hebrews, these black Hebrews from the continent of so-called Africa over here during the transatlantic slave trade. You ever notice that in this country the transatlantic slave trade is never even mentioned? Most of you never heard it in public school. I never heard it in public school. You have to ask yourself, why have you not ever heard of the greatest evil and injustices that has ever been perpetuated in the history of mankind upon a particular people? Why is it totally ignored? Why come the news media, or why come America as a whole just totally ignore this? Why do they just simply want to try to forget this, but they want you to remember the Holocaust? You know, it's amazing. It's utterly amazing. Because when you start putting these things together, you start seeing the spirit that's happening with these people. And I'm sure I'm going to lose a lot more subscribers because people rather put their head in the sand and ignore, and then, you know, everybody be deceived by the so-called the fairy tales that we get today, you know, Christmas, Easter, Halloween, Sunday, you know, the whole 9 yards, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Veterans Day, and all this whole other junk. But when you start bringing facts and putting it on the table, that's when all of the moles and the rats begin to take off and run. And no matter how many people that's going to see this video, and they're going to do everything they can to keep this video from going viral because it's so truth impacted, because they don't want the American people to know the truth. So we're going to sit here and watch again, hundreds of millions of Americans go out and buy GMO modified turkeys, stuff their guts, giving thanks for a land that was robbed, a people that has been robbed and spoiled, their heritage, their culture, their language, their nationality was taken from them. They were put on reservations, gave booze to be drunks, and now the indigenous people of this land are nothing but just relics. They're tourist attractions now. That's all they are in this country right here. And this is the thanks that they get. And they're not going to receive any reparations at all. But these people called the Jews got reparations from us, and we didn't even do nothing we didn't do nothing to them. They got reparations. The blacks in this country, who are descendants of the ancient Hebrew Israelites from the African slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, you just might as well just go ahead and die if you're waiting for your 40 acres and a mule that was promised you, because you ain't getting it. But that's the type of spirit that we're up against. We're up against this Neanderthal spirit of the Ice Age man, who was cold, cruel, and brutal. And you people need to realize that that's what's going on. If you refuse to recognize what's going on, you're going to continue to repeat the same mistakes of the past. You've got to stop trusting blindly news sources, people who are ignorant of the facts, and people who ignore facts. And I'm telling you, I watch people very closely, you know, because when it's okay to talk about certain things, but then other things it's not okay to talk about. It's okay if we talk about this, but don't talk about this. Why is it that we have to cherry pick what we're going to talk about and what the information we're going to allow the people to have in their minds? What is there to fear? This bizarre behavior is deeply embedded in the collective subconscious of men's mind. And I'm telling you, this manipulation and coercion is literally gone too far. I'm going to continue to keep on thundering the truth, whether people like it or not. It makes no difference, because the hypocrites are the only ones that's running. But those of us who have ears to hear, we understand, and we're preparing our hearts and minds. My advice to you is don't trust anything about these people. Don't go out there and buy no turkey. Celebrate the National Day of Mourning, if anything. If you're going to buy turkey, buy it simply because you're just going to eat it, not because you're thanking so-called God for raping, robbing, murdering, stealing, pillaging, killing, and all these injustices that these Europeans have placed and put up on this land right here. Don't celebrate that. If anything, join with the indigenous people of this land and mourn the Holocaust that the people of this land have actually endured at the hands of the people who are ruling the world today, which just happen to be the Europeans. They're spread all over the place. They are the ones who are doing it. This colonialism is coming to an end. America, you can see, we're already in so much debt. We're falling just like all the other empires. Prepare your mind, prepare your heart, get your conscience ready, because the end of this country is very, very near. America will be a third world country, I promise you that. And I ain't just been saying it yesterday or today. I've been saying this for well over 20 years. America is headed towards third world country status, and we're watching this thing develop right before our very eyes. I was a young man and could see it then, because I refused to stick my head in the sand. And because I could see the forest because of the trees. I could see it. I could see the writing on the wall. And I use self-autonomy continually, question everything. And I'm not going to sit up and just receive it simply because they say it or they tell us. I know that the truth is too painful for a lot of you people to accept, but the nature of this video is I want you people who can accept the truth, hear the truth, and then go do some investigation of it. I want you to test, prove, and try every word I said and see if it's fact. Don't give me opinions. We may all be entitled to our opinions, but we're not all entitled to our own facts. Don't tell me what your opinion is or how you feel about something. State facts. And if you can't disprove what I'm saying with facts, then go somewhere else and continue on a debate or a dialogue with the rest of the ignorant folks and stuff. You choose to ignore what I'm saying and keep your head stuck in the sand, continue to remain a hypocrite. But know this, the truth has entered into your ears this day. We're celebrating the National Day of Mourning coming up. And it's just the truth. And we're going to watch this so-called Black Friday. Why come it can't be a White Friday? And don't think I'm being racist either because I'm making a statement. But think about it. Why come it can't be a White Friday? Why it's got to be a Black Friday? I'll tell you the reason why it's Black Friday, because some folks going to die. You're going to watch a spirit come over these people in this country over stuff. We're in debt and they can't afford to buy anything, but they're going to run up the national debt even more so and keep charging stuff that they can't afford to pay for, simply because of the attention and arousal that they're getting through this mind control medium called the TV. When you going to learn how to function independently? Anyway, I understand enough till I'm blue in the face. Let's just see if this video, like many other truths, is practiced under the guise and the spirit of collusion. Or let's see if this video is going to be shared freely with the rest of the people in this world before we come up on this crazy, chaotic, psychotic time of the year where you're going to watch these people go stark raving mad, people fighting each other over stuff. A toaster oven for $5, a microwave for $18. They dropped the Xbox 360 to $99. You're going to watch people go crazy over stuff. You're going to watch the spirit of humanity go right out the door. That's why I keep telling you over and over again. When we have a world without rule of law, can you really truly trust your neighbor and these people out here that's going to go mad over stuff? No, you better prepare yourself. This Pastordowell, you heard the truth straight away. I got to get back in there and get busy.